Stephanie Milky here, aka KetoMOM, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the KetoMOM podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the KetoMOM Secrets podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. Oh, that is hot. Welcome. Happy Friday. My name is Stephanie. Thank you for tuning into the page. Hey, I labeled this. I'm making the girls some eggs this morning. I labeled this live, one of my truths to fat loss. And it's interesting because you hear this saying of people saying, well, it's my truth, right? So I was going to say, hey, a truth about fat loss. And I thought, well, oh no, I have a shell. The truth about fat loss, but somebody might not agree with me. So I'm going to share with you one of my truths that I believe is true on how to achieve fat loss. But before I do that, tell me where you're tuning in from. Happy Friday. Any big plans for this weekend? I just told my girls to get out of bed. If you are new to the page, welcome to the KetoMOM page. I just finished a walk. My husband got out of the cold plunge. We are having a great morning. I did just throw my sweatshirt on the ground. And I have been sharing on this page for almost 9 years. And earlier this week, I said, hey, I want to talk about the things that I've learned over the course of 9 years that I believe is so important around fat loss. And it might not be what you think. Like, oftentimes people think they have to have the exact right food, right? Or they might think, like, if I don't do it perfectly, then I'm going to fail. And what I have found over the last almost 9 years is something that most people don't think about when it comes to their health goals, their health journey, their fat loss goals, and maybe don't even want to recognize it. And there's a couple of phrases I'm going to say. I said this a long time ago, and if you have forgotten it or have never heard it, I think you should write it down. If you have forgotten about the phrase, write it down. If you know it, then my question to you is, are you actually doing it? So the phrase, oh, hey, I do have 4 daughters and 4 dogs. Usually you're going to hear one of the 8. So I am a homeschool mom, I work from home, I share online, and what started out as recipes has turned into so much more. So, okay, here's the phrase. I think it's super important. It's probably one of the most important things you will ever learn if your goal is fat loss. It's a big statement, isn't it? Okay, are you ready? The phrase is this. It's not mine. I learned it from Joseph McClendon III. And it's as I think, so you should write it down. I think it's so important. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. And as I do, so I have. If you've tuned out, I apologize, but I'm telling you right now, you want to be a healthier version of you. You want to be a happier version of you. You want to be, let's say, financially free. You want a better marriage. Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to be a better parent? I am telling you this phrase, and we're going to break it down in just a second. I'm clearly burning these eggs. I had it on way too hot. I'm telling you this phrase is super powerful. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. So let's reverse engineer it. Look at what you have in your life today. This is probably the number one thing that I have realized over the last 9 years. And there's a lot that goes into it, right? But I'm telling you that if there's one thing that I tell people to focus on during their fat loss journey is their thought process. All right, so it goes like this. As I think, Somebody asked me to repeat it. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. My kids even know this. As I do, so I have. So let's reverse engineer it, right? If you want something in life, you have to look at what you want in any area of your life, and then you have to go, okay, I have to reverse engineer it. I've got to figure out what I want, and then I have to backtrack, and I have to figure out this system, how I'm going to get there. So, as I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. Let's look at what you have first. What do you have? Are you happy with your appearance of your body and how you feel, right? You have to go like, okay, here's where I'm at. I have this kind of marriage. I have this kind of financial situation. I have this kind of body. This is what I have. Look at your life. Here's what I have. We're not looking at what you have to blame anybody else in the past. We're not looking at what you have to sit in this aspect of like, well, it's not my fault. That's not why we're looking at that. We're looking at what you have to set a baseline, a foundation of like, here's where I'm at. How do I get to where I want to go? So we're backtracking, right? So if you look at what you have, then you have to go, okay, here's the actions that I'm taking. If you are overweight, right? You've got to look at some of the actions. I know there's a lot of people that will say, well, it's because I'm injured. I get it. It's because my parents didn't teach me how to eat. I hear you. It's because, and they'll come up with a lot of becauses. And I understand. I don't have time. I don't know how. Okay? Well, first of all, we live in a world of ridiculous amount of information. So the how part, actually, you can't use that one. I mean, you can use it if you want to. I'm going to say you can't use it. So, as I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. We looked at what you have currently. And then you have to look at your actions. As I do, what are you doing currently that is creating what you have? So I have this. Here's what I'm doing, right? Here's how I feel about it. My feelings create actions. As soon as you can understand that, it is going to shift so many things. But you get the feelings from what? Where do your feelings come from? I made these because the girls will make egg sandwiches. I make egg sandwiches. Like, anybody like a good egg sandwich? I make my English muffin out of eggs and protein. So these are the eggs. We'll make the bread out of eggs and protein. Okay, so as I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. I just need, if there's one thing that I can if I could ingrain this into people's thought processes in their life, it would be to go, okay, I need you to understand right here. It all starts right here. All of it. Whether it's something that somebody said to you and you took it on and you believed it, or you say it to yourself. So as I think, what are you thinking about today? It's Friday. Like, what were your first thoughts here in the morning? Like, did you wake up with an attitude of gratitude, or did you wake up thinking, I have to go to work. I have to do this. Because that shifts what? Your thoughts shift your emotions. And then either A, you feel happy because as I think, so I feel. If you start out your day with gratitude and you think, I'm thankful for, which if you want to share in the comments and go, what are you thankful for? I'd love to know. If you're thankful right away in the morning and you wake up, okay, I'm going to share a book with you. The girls and I, there's a book that I've read as an adult, and it's called The Traveler's Gift. Incredible book. You should all read it. It's more of like a fun, fictional but not fictional book with some really great truth behind it. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so the book is called The Traveler's Gift. There's like an adult one, right, that you would read as an adult, but there's also a teen version. And in the teen version, one of the stories, the boy is talking to Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln is giving a story. He's teaching a aspect of life around forgiveness. And this is the book. And if you want a book for your teenagers, this is incredible. Eliza, you're 12? Eliza's 12, and she's reading this book for school. Well, we homeschool, so. It's called The Travelers. You have to take a screenshot, and it's the teen version. The Young Traveler's Gift, right? And I'm telling you this for a reason. Abraham Lincoln in this book said, I start off my morning he goes, I greet the morning with forgiveness. I greet the morning with forgiveness. And I've been thinking about this phrase all week. I greet the morning with forgiveness. You could say, I greet my morning with gratitude and forgiveness, what you're thankful for, and walking through your day with an attitude of love and forgiveness, so that when things happen to you, it's not happening to you maybe, but happening for you, for you to go, you know what? Like, I'm going to forgive. I'm going to love. What if you walked throughout your day, and instead of looking at life as I have to, and I don't want to, and I can't, and what if you flipped it, right? Like, I like to tell people, the reason I'm cold plunging, I'll have people say, I can't believe you're cold plunging. Like, why would you do that? Or like, what does it even do for you? And I'll say, you know what's so cool is you have access to Google. Go Google it. Like, there's so many great benefits to it. A lot of the reason I do it is because my husband thinks it's great. He does it. And I constantly tell myself I can't because it's so cold. So if I can't, I must. Like, you learn these little phrases if you choose to listen to them. And if you hear a phrase that you're like, I love that, write it down and apply it to your life. If I say I can't, I must. If you woke up today with it, I can't, or I have to, or I should, then you must, right? And if you want to flip it, and if you really truly take this concept to heart, as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, as I do, so I have, and you want something different in your life other than what you physically have in your hands right now, then you have to go, okay, what am I doing? I have to decide a different action, which comes from a feeling, and my feelings come from my thoughts in the morning. So that means I have to control my thoughts in the morning to create a different feeling, to when I leave my door in the morning, or leave my home, or I go to my office, or I go to school, I'm going to have a positive outlook on life because I've chosen to be thankful and greet the day with forgiveness and love. As I walk through my day, it creates a different feeling, which then creates a different action, because the action is huge. It's the reason for your result. If you have a sad emotion today, or a frustrated, or an angry, then you most likely will skip the action. You'll skip the gym. You'll eat the garbage. You'll yell at your kids. You'll spend the extra money even though you don't have it, right? Because of the feeling. But if you wake up with this, like, I get to mentality, I'm going to, and I'm going to greet the day differently than I normally do, it's going to create this, like, my daughter, Amelia, she is in Pensacola. So we live on the eastern side of Florida. She's on the western side of Florida right now. And she said, hey, at church, they talked about Wednesday night church youth group. She goes, they talked about the smile movement. Was it the smile revolution? She said there was I don't know if there was a city somewhere in the east, like over Eastern Europe, Eastern Europe. And I don't actually know when this happened, but it was called the Smile Revolution. And there was a town, and it was lonely and depressed and angry. And this man wanted to go in and change the town. Well, people were not open to what he wanted to teach. But what he found was they were open to his smile. So he didn't say a word or a phrase to them, but he walked around that town. I don't know how long it was. You'll have to look it up. She said, you can Google it. I didn't Google it yet. I just listened to her story. And she said the man walked around and simply smiled. And as he did, it created a feeling in other people. And when you do that to yourself or others, right? When you smile or you're thankful, you encourage somebody. That's going to shift their emotions, which shifts their actions, which shifts yours and their results. Does this make sense? So in all of the years, I'm telling you, I can help you eat. I can say, hey, proteins and veggies and salads. Get rid of the pasta, bread, and potatoes. I can tell you to drink water. I am going to tell you to drink ketones. I think they're amazing. They're the tool that I use. But if I had to take everything away, even ketones, which I love, they're an incredible tool. If I had to erase everything and give you one thing that will shift the rest of your future if you allow it to, it's going to be the way that you think. And it's going to be starting here. And that means you might have to watch the inputs that you allow in your mind, the videos, the music, the people, the voices, TV shows. Like, if you don't watch what you're thinking about, right? And it has to do with the things you're watching and listening to and the people that you're around, right? That affects this. If you don't feed your mind just like you feed your body, like I'll talk about, okay, I'm going to teach you how to feed your body. The number one thing I have to teach you is how to feed your mind. And feeding your mind is more valuable because if you don't get that right, the likelihood of feeding your body is not going to work. And so out of almost 9 years of being on the KetoMOM page, I actually want to shift the name. I'm not going to shift the name because I think eating low carb is incredible. I think understanding the power of food is amazing, and it allows people to find me for me to be able to help encourage you that your mindset is so important. So if there's one thing that you think about today, there's a couple phrases. I would say write them down, right? Put them on a Post-it note, put them around your mirror, put them in your car. And it's, if I can't, I must. Don't see something worse than it is, right? We sometimes sit in this phase of life and we're like, my life is terrible. Don't see something worse than it is. Another one I like is don't mess up good for perfect. Like if you can't be perfect, oftentimes people won't do it. Just do the best that you can. Don't mess up good for perfect. I do love this Abraham Lincoln. I actually need to look it up to see if it's an actual phrase he said, but in the book, it said, I greet the morning with forgiveness. I think it's so powerful. What does it look like to greet the morning with forgiveness? And then I'm going to say, write this down. As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. And if you think about that and process it, and then all of a sudden you start paying attention, you might go, so important. It's so important. So how do we feed our mind? We listen to good podcasts. We read good books. We're around great people that encourage us. And if you don't have those things, it's a shift, right? So read a good book. If there's a good book that you love, post the book below. There's so many books that I love that I could give you. Well, you should just look at the books that I have. I have a bazillion books. I love them. Podcasts, right? Find a good podcast. Get a mentor, like somebody that can feed your mind and not make you doubt. But like all of these books behind me, all of them, not kidding, all of them, and those. And then I have boxes of books upstairs that I never unpacked. I love to physically own books. They're a tool. They're incredible. So anyways, okay, I've chatted long enough. If you have specific questions, reach out. I would love to answer your questions, even if it's about food, right? It's what I've been helping people for years. If you need some encouragement, let me know how I can encourage you. So either ask questions below, send me a message. You can always go to ketomomsecrets.com and you can click on book club, how to get started. There's a foods list. There are trial packs of ketones. So if you need some ketones to learn more about, like this is what I would give up to actually teach you about mindset. But the next thing that I want is ketones, because I do call it my mom fuel and I feel great. You can post trial below if you want to know more about that. But reach out. All the questions are answered. Like if I don't have an answer, I'll help find an answer. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I try my best? 100%. Do I believe it starts here? Yes. So thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. I hope you have a wonderful day and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.